Okay, so here we're just going to put a little demonstration of this is the Powerflex and variable frequency drive with an Allen Bradley. So all we're going to do is we're going to run off the Ethernet cable. Now here, all the commands, everything is coming off the Ethernet. Now the Siemens one, we connected up to these terminal blocks. Now here we're not doing it, so we do need that jumper between 1 and 11 to make it run. So anyway, I'm going to get set up, and you can see we're plugged into the Allen Bradley, and this works pretty good. You have to study all the command tables, and we're going to get it working just like the Siemens. We're going to have it in sector scan and take a look at it. And what I have here is kind of bare basics, but kind of get it looking good and make it work, and you can put in a few different things. So I'm going to get set up to look at the program here in a second. Okay, so we're going to also do this with our handy little Wonderware, and we got the system control. We can go clockwise and counterclockwise. Now this incorporates the speed settings right here, and you can go from 75 Hertz. Now the way I have it set up, and some of these, this is really quick and dirty setup, but if we want to go at 75 Hertz, we're going to set it to 7500. So this would be 50 Hertz. So think of it as there's a decimal point there. And we're not operating, but we have our start stop clockwise, counterclockwise. We've got something that tells us whether the drive's on and whether it's normal operation. Now, it's not normal operation if it's in sector scan. So again, we have the enable, disable. Here we have it set up for about half speed and kind of full speed, and we have the time. Here is also a trend, which, because we're not operating, it's not showing anything. But this should show the actual speed. So it'll be on these outputs. Some of these outputs, and you can kind of change the screen so they're in multiple sections or not. What we're going to look at is just these different screens. So if we go to the main screen, we can start it up, and you can hear it go up to speed. Now we have it set up so the acceleration is like 3 seconds and deceleration is 1 second, so it's pretty fast. Now I've only got, and here you can see it's on, drive is on. If we turn it off, you'll see drive goes off. Now I'm going to set this, so our low speed is, and you can probably hear the drive turning on if I start it up. And it makes that hum. Now I'm going to change the speed to 5 Hertz, which would be 500. So all I have to do is just backslash there, and it'll slow way down. And actually we can take a look at it, and you can kind of see how it's rotating. Right now it's going clockwise. Now if I change the direction, you'll see it stop and reverse. And here, let's look at it again, stop, and it reverses. And it can actually do that at any speed. It's just easier to visualize when it's going at the slow speed. And that's the basic thing. And we can go all the way up to, we can go up to higher speeds, but we don't want to go up beyond 75. There's no need to push the limits. And that 75 Hertz operation is also programmed as one of the parameters inside the variable frequency drive. So it cannot go faster than that, even if we put in 10,000. So when we hit enter, it'll start accelerating to speed, and you'll see the actual speed. Now if we went to the trend, what that kind of shows is, you can see, I'm not exactly, okay, so the blue is the set point, so the set point goes fast, and then the actual speed, you can see it takes that 3 seconds to speed up. And so this shows actual speed and the set point. And the set point, it should actually be kind of a stiff bar, but the way it works isn't quite right. Now here we've got our sector scan, and we can turn it on and off, and we have it set up for 35 Hertz to 70 Hertz, and we have the low time for 10 seconds and high time for 5 seconds. So if we turn it on, starts off in the low speed, and it's going to run that for 10 seconds. And then when it goes to high speed, we should see this little lamp come on too, and you'll hear the motor go to the higher speed. So those are some of the things that you can do with this. And you know, right now everything is over Ethernet. There's another way to do it, which is called DS1 on the Allen Bradley system. It's really a serial party line interface, so if you had multiple motors, you could talk to them all. And I haven't tried that, but I'd like somebody, if they wanted to do this, if they work with motors and if they want to do this stuff, you can learn a lot about variable frequency drives. I know when I'm looking at job postings, everybody wants to know if you can use a variable frequency drive. So, you know, if you can program it here, you know, and Allen Bradley is what everybody wants, this is a good little project. Now, some of these, you know, this is basic. Like when we're changing speeds and whatnot, you know, and basically, and you can see when we go disable it, now it reverts back to the speed that's on here. So it's at 75 hertz right now. And just so, oh, and so let's go back into sector scan. So when I'm in sector scan, you know, it always starts at the low speed, but when we go to the main menu, it'll say sector scan on rather than normal operation. So when we turn that off and go back here, it'll say that's normal operation. So it's either normal operation or sector scan. But what I was going to say is, you know, there's a whole lot more lamps and stuff. I just have the drive status because I want to know if there's a fault coming from that variable frequency drive, so I can, and there's also a reset, because I want to try to just acknowledge the fault and hopefully get going again. But for instance, in the sector scan, you know, you can have, this just has when the fast speed is on, but you can have lamps for acceleration, deceleration, when it's at speed and when it's not. You know, there's a whole thing in the manual, and you'll have to take a look. And if you want to do this project, you can put a bunch of lights, get them looking fancy, and you know, that'll be a good project, and you'll be well rewarded if you do a good project. So that's the variable frequency for the Allen Bradley. And you know, I like the fact that, you know, when we have this with the Wonderware, you know, we can do everything through the Ethernet cable. So, you know, when we do it with the Siemens, which is a good project too, but, you know, you got to do some wiring up. And you could do the wiring up here too, but we're doing everything over Ethernet, which kind of makes it pretty handy. So anyway, that's our little view for the Allen Bradley VFD drive with the Ethernet control.